might be a little quiet.
Here.
Go, Bruce.
In spite of discouragement and adversity, those who are happiest seem to have a way of learning from difficult times, becoming stronger, wiser, and happier as a result. Joseph B. Worthman. We light our chalice today in acknowledgement of this immensely trying year and in recognition that it has brought out different things in each of us. Our gathering song this morning is number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath, from the Gray Hymnal. The words are copied in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted and simply sing along at home if you would like.
I must answer yes to life, though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines Digital Service. My name is Louise Alcorn. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm speaking to you today from land that is the traditional territory of the indigenous Iowa people. Lyra Halston is today's celebrant. Bruce Martin is our pianist, and Barb Martin is our song leader. Reverend Amy is kindly helping us as our AV nerd, so I'm very grateful. Harvey Harrison is our pastoral care associate for this week. As we approach the new year, we can look back on one of the oddest years of most of our lives. Dramatic and boring, exhausting and exciting, a total roller coaster of a year. But within it have been moments of generosity, creativity, change, and even humor. And I'm going to share some of those today. There will also be dinosaurs. Please keep your microphones muted during the entire service. After the service, you're welcome to turn on your microphone and join us in the coffee hour breakout rooms.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines digital service. My name is Lyra Halston. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the celebrant for this morning's service. Whether you are here with us for the day or here for a lifetime, we are glad that you have chosen to join us online. Everyone is welcome to join us for a service, whether or not you live in Des Moines or have ever physically been at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, we hope that you will find something here today to help you on your life's journey. Our story for all ages is The Fox and the Star, read by our friend, Max Jensen.
Hey everybody, my name's Max Jensen, and I'm going to be reading The Fox and the Star by Coralie Bickford Smith. Once there was a fox who lived deep in a forest dense. Because Fox was small and the trees reached far higher than the tips of his ears, he was timid and afraid to stray far from his den. And yet, for as long as he could remember, he would wake up at night to the cool, calm light of Star. Together they made paths through trees, Star brightening shadows ahead. Star was Fox's only friend. Star would light the way for Fox as he foraged for beetles and ran in the wild, in the tangled thorns. Star looked on when Fox chased the rabbits and raced through the thicket. Even when the rain fell, Fox felt fine. He asked Star to shine through the clouds so he could dance to the rain's tapping beat. All of Fox's happiness was bound to the flickering light of Star, and so it had always been. Then, one night, Fox woke and everything had changed. Fox called out for Star, but Star did not appear. The forest stayed cold and dark and still. In the days that followed, Fox dreamt that Star would return. But the darkness drew closer without Star. There was no reason to go outside. Worried and lonely, he huddled in his den. Days and nights passed in silence, until something stirred in the forest. The beetles were on the move, creeping and crawling to where the fox lay. Closer and closer the beetles came, seeking the still body of the fox in the belly of his den. The smell of 1,000 beetles ignited Fox's hunger. He faced the darkness and feasted on the tasty beetles, and he felt much better. It was time to go find Star. Fox peered around the gloom and could just make out the clump of thorns. "Have you seen my Star?" the fox asked the undergrowth, but the thorns did not know of any Star. Next, Fox came across a colony of rabbits. "Have you seen my Star?" he shouted down the burrows, but rabbits have no time for foxes. Suddenly, Fox was beyond the forest, he knew. He looked up at the trees. "Have you seen my Star?" he cried, but the trees were too tall to hear him. Fox found himself in a quiet, empty clearing he had never seen before. He sank to the ground and fell asleep. Fox woke to the sound of falling rain. He wanted to know if the rain had seen Star on its travels, but he did not know how to ask the raindrops. When the rain stopped, he had a feeling that something had changed. Fox called out to the forest, to the trees and the leaves, to the beetles and the rabbits, to the tangle of thorns and the life he had left behind. Where did Star go? He stayed still, listening to the noises in the forest, watching the leaves settle on the ground. "Look up beyond your ears," a voice said. Fox could not believe There were so many stars. His heart was full of happiness. He knew that somewhere out there was a star that once was his. Beneath the blazing sky of stars, Fox made his way through the forest.
Thank you, Max. So, having locked her keys inside her car, a woman prayed to God for assistance. Just then, a man walked by, saw the situation, and got her car door opened in nothing flat. "Thank you, God, for sending me this nice man to help," she exclaimed. The man replied, I'm not nice. I just got out of jail for auto theft." The woman stops. "Thank you, God," the woman shouted to the sky. "You even sent me a professional." Our professional morning offering will now be given and received through the link in the chat. Half of this electronic plate goes to the social justice programs of the church, and half to our faith and action partners, Planned Parenthood and El Éxito. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, Bruce. I didn't know Tchaikovsky could be a rag. That's fantastic. A church is not the building, but a community. As a community of human hands and human hearts, we come together to share our laughter and our tears, and to bear witness and minister to one another as we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joys. I want to begin our sharing by acknowledging the people of Nashville, whose silent night was so horribly interrupted by a senseless act of violence. May they find peace in the new year. Dave Whitkey shared that longtime member Jim Graber has died. Our condolences go out to Bonnie and the family. Barb Glass shares that Jane Flagler and Charlie Johnson were quarantined through December 24th, recovering from COVID. Cards are welcome. I also want to add a warm sort of virtual hug for those among us who spent this holiday alone, perhaps for the first time. Maybe we Zoomed, maybe we ate or drank some festive cheer, maybe we watched the Muppet Christmas Carol as we always do, but this time on our own. I hope we all found some quietness. Let us share together now the names of anyone we know who could use some special care and attention. As we type their names into the chat, may the love of this community hold them all. May the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world, and may we travel hand in hand with all those who fight for equity and justice in human relations. May the work of our hands and our hearts support and comfort all those who are marginalized, oppressed, silenced, or at risk. May we be called to mindful action by the needs of those who struggle against violence, pain, degradation, and destruction. May those who are grieving be comforted. May those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant and encouraged. Now together, we light 3 candles, one for the joys and sorrows we have shared. Let's start with that one. I don't know if you can see, it's lit. One for the names we have written. And one last candle for all of the joys and all of the sorrows which are deeply held, but remain unspoken here today.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul.
Generosity was an early response to the pandemic, especially in the first days of lockdown. In Italy, which was hard hit, neighbors sang and played to each other from their balconies to pass the time and give each other hope. So you may not have thought of it this way, the grocery stores that opened early to allow elderly and at-risk customers to shop safely were being generous and thoughtful. Our own church members also performed small acts of generosity this year. And Mallory shared, Al and I walk about an hour in our neighborhood most days of the week, and we pick up trash. I operate the picker, and Al handles the bag. We can tell you all about people's favorite liquors, smokes, etc. We also include the church grounds weekly in our travels. Terry Meek shared, when I walk my dog in the neighborhood, I always pick up the litter and bring it home to my trash cans.
This year's made me think a lot about generosity, financial, physical, emotional. Faced with a fearful crisis, it's all too easy to shut down, clam up, and hunker down. I think we all wanted to. That's natural. And it makes those small and large acts of open generosity all the more precious. As many of you know, just a few weeks ago, COVID took one of the leading lights of our church, Nikki Keller. Earlier in December, I'd posted on the church Facebook group asking for positive stories from 2020. Nikki shared a reflection that was quintessentially Nikki, in that it was quietly generous and loving. She said, "We have always had good relations with our neighbors, but 2020 presented challenges for several of us that brought us into much closer relationship. We are almost a family now. We are all retired, watch out for each other and other neighbors and their children. I love them all." This year has encouraged many of us to be generous with people who we might otherwise have overlooked, like our near neighbors. My first cloth mask was made by a neighbor who I knew pretty well, but who I now count as a friend. Church member Misty Craig reflected that she, quote, remembered that it's good for the soul to put seeds in the ground. Indeed. I met neighbors because of growing and sharing food and supplies with one another. There was a lot of food sharing this year, vegetables and sourdough starter and homemade cookies. Would we do these generous things anyway? Possibly, probably. Food is a small act of love at any time, but it's especially poignant when supermarket shelves were getting bare and budgets were and are shrinking. Also, we might get cake in return, and that's always good. Winston Churchill once said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." The more jaded part of me acknowledges his cynicism, but the mushier part of me, the part that cries at coffee commercials, knows that he was also talking about the infinite creativity of humans, that given a crisis, inevitably humans will find ways to get creative. I was struggling to find a meditation piece for this service, something we could all muse on. There's so much in the last year that has given us pause to think, to reflect, even to grieve. So as an example of our creativity this year, I share with you this beautiful, funny, charming piece created by one of our teens, Gavin Houchins McCallum. I offer it to you as a short meditation with dinosaur. Hey. Oh, that thing makes me laugh every time. Rawr. So perhaps the thing I've missed most in 2020, besides hugging my mother, has been singing in choirs. That feeling of creating music with other people, of literally vibrating with other living creatures to produce beauty. There's nothing like it, and it's been a huge hole in my life. So it's no surprise that the creativity that touched me most was when, early in the year, musicians began to put together beautiful performances from their homes, some small, some large. One of the first and most beautiful was from the Rotterdam Philharmonic. My brother Justin has said that this is the most beautiful piece of music ever, and I think in this context, all the more so.
some change this year was inevitable. Lost jobs.
Sorry, Lyra.
Did you? Okay.
There's me. Yeah. I just was having trouble with my mute button. Sorry. Okay. This year, some change was inevitable. People lost jobs, lost income, lost homes. But it turns out that some change this year was positive, either in spite of the pandemic or in some cases because of it. In addition to the generosity I mentioned earlier and the creativity we just saw, there were small moments of positive change that we chose. Bill Paxton shared that after 307 days of unemployment, I got a job during a time with the worst unemployment since the Depression. It's with people I like and for an organization that works to actually save lives. I love that. For myself, after years of lobbying for a change in my job, which had frankly been blocked by organizational inertia because we'd always done it that way, COVID suddenly pivoted how I spend my day, and I've been more productive and useful than ever before. So more than a few of us got pandemic critters. I am now the proud, if well-scratched owner of a 4-month-old kitten named Arthur. Some of you saw him earlier. Chelsea Bredesen Hayes told me that, quote, our neighbors found a 4-week-old kitten. Had I been working, we would not have been able to bottle feed her multiple times a day. It was a joy to watch the kids learn how to take care of her and work together on ensuring she thrived. Penny has grown to be a sassy tortoiseshell loved by all, especially the dog. I've been most impressed by the folks who spent lockdown or quarantine or even sudden unemployment making major pivots in their way of living. Lyra is going to share one such story.
This 2020 story, entitled Reversal, was sent by church member Pat Headley. What's happened? While raising my daughters, I had a strict hands-off approach to Christmas decorating. I wrapped gifts. That was it. They and their father assembled the tree, decorated it, and reversed the process after Christmas. I never made candy or cookies, and all was well in my Grinchy world. My late wife, Ruth Ann, and I never had a tree or decorations. We were never home anyway, always visiting our families or traveling. Now there were 2 Grinches. You won't believe what's been going down in this house lately. I've made candy and cookies for 2 weeks. 10 containers reside on a card table in the basement, sent there to keep my greedy hands out. Well, you gotta go down there to do laundry, get wrapping paper, or a gazillion other things when they keep shouting, hey, there's candy down here. 2 containers replaced the crap I've already eaten. I burned those calories climbing back upstairs, I think. My kids won't believe the family room. On an end table is a 4-foot artificial tree so decked out it almost obscures the tree itself. Under it are one of the 12 snowmen I made for fellow board members of the Friendship Force as a thank you for service. The fireplace mantle bears decorations. Below that is a gold ribbon, and on the ledge below that are 3 Christmassy type decorations. On the floor in front of that is a small Christmas themed throw rug. On the front of my house is a wreath made by me, 3 Christmas bows, and 2 sprays of greenery. I'm a new person. So why the change, the reversal? Maybe I've mellowed. Maybe all the COVID cancellations, postponements, restrictions, and other daily hassles made me want something special. Maybe I understand the importance of doing for my family. Maybe I'm sick of Zoom meetings and need real human company. Maybe it's none of these things or all of them. Maybe I figure it's worth the bother. Maybe it's because I don't know who will still be around next Christmas, including myself. I will say, though, the reversal feels needed this year, important. It simply feels right, and I'm okay with that.
And finally, inevitably, when you get a service from me, I offer humor as a response to crisis. One of my favorite events this year was when the Shed Aquarium in Chicago let loose a bunch of penguins and filmed the tuxedoed crew visiting all the exhibits while the humans couldn't. In British Columbia, a 6-year-old boy who'd received a joke book the year before set up a driveway stand for drive-by, walk-by free jokes to cheer up his neighbors. He would not take any money for them. If you watched our service on November 8th, you got to see satirist Roy Zimmerman, who has made much merry out of both the political and pandemic themes of 2020. So in a similar vein, our own Kent Newman has added his own work to the oeuvre, My Corona. Here you go.
My healthy ones, are you gonna give us some time, Corona? Ooh, you make my motor run, run, my anxiety high, Corona. Ever gonna stop, give it up, stop infecting us, better check my temperature, my, woo! My Corona, my Corona. Keep your social distance now. Keep it now. Keep your social distance because Corona, you could be deadly to me. You scare me. Running up the length of my spine, Corona. Ever gonna stop? Give it up. Stop infecting us. Always be a mark. Be on guard for the older ones. My. Woo! My Corona. My Corona. My Corona, my Corona, how are you gonna give it to me? Give to me, is it just a matter of time, Corona? Is it due to destiny, is it a game in my mind, Corona? Never gonna stop, give it up, stop infecting us, always be on guard for the older ones, my, woo! My Corona, my Corona, my Corona, my Corona.
Bob Marley said, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice." And with that, we extinguish our chalice for the week. Our final song is number 1022, Open the Window. The words are copied in the chat screen.
Open the window, children. Open the window now. Open the window, children. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in. My mama and papa, they're lightning. And let the dove fly in. Baby is a crying like a
children. Open the window now. Open the window, children. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Daughters around mother. Take it, folks. Let the dove fly in. Open the window, children. Open the window now. Open the window, children. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And I'm even letting you go a little early. To finish, I'm going to share with you my favorite happy song. It's not a great song. I just happen to love it. It's the one that makes me smile and dance. As we leave, feel free to think of your favorite happy song, hum it to yourself while dancing well into the new year. May we find peace and light and more than a little humor in the year to come. Thank you.